Today on Healthy Living, we're joined by Dr. Jacqui Fleury, who is a naturopathic doctor with over 25 years of experience in women's health and menopause. She's just returned from the National Menopause Show in Toronto, and she says that there's an important piece missing from the menopause conversation. Good morning, Jacqui.
Good morning, Trillian.
So I'd love to just start out, tell us all about this experience and what you learned there about this piece that's missing.
You know, Trillian, it was a fabulous experience. I had the opportunity to share conversations with many women who are obviously living in a different part of our country and have different experiences in terms of healthcare and environments and communities. And really, there was this common thread that I heard from all the women, which was that in spite of doing a lot of the right things, and that might be eating well and trying to get exercise and trying to sleep and perhaps taking their hormones, they still are suffering with a lot of the symptoms that continue to be blamed on menopause. And that just really, for me, it sort of drove the point home yet again that it's really important to understand with menopause, it's more than just about the hormones.
Yes, and I'd love to get into that. Of course, I feel like people kind of think about hormones a lot when it comes to menopause. What is that missing piece? What are some of the things that these women might be lacking?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I am very, very grateful for the work that's being done on the topic of menopause, the attention to research and the awareness around the safety and efficacy of hormones. So I'm very grateful for that work being done. Unfortunately, when a woman has already perhaps corrected that or is maybe taking hormones and they're still not feeling great, we have to look deeper. And the root cause approach that I've used with women for many years and other naturopathic doctors like myself who understand that during menopause there's often an amplification of some of these imbalances that have been essentially laying in the weeds for many years. So whether that's a nutritional deficiency, a gut dysbiosis, a liver congestion, thyroid imbalances, there's all these symptoms that just amplify during menopause. And I really feel for the woman who is listening and learning and doing all the right things and still not getting to the root. So that's what I'm here to talk about today, and to help women understand that there are other tools that they can put in their tool chest.
And I'd love to touch on some of those tools, and maybe we could go over some of the things that you brought in this morning as well.
Well, understanding, so the gut is a really big player when it comes to hormone health and regulation. And when we go through perimenopause and menopause, there's a renovation that happens in the gut. And I spend a lot of time talking about gut health because if we think about the gut as a garden, when you go through menopause, a woman's garden starts to look more like a male's garden than a men's garden instead of a woman's garden. So that alone changes the way that you feel, the way your brain works, the way your gut feels. I think every single woman I talked to in Toronto was bloated, in spite of, again, eating more fiber, increasing their protein, doing all the right things. So understanding digestion, understanding food sensitivities, so there's a blood spot test that can be done for that. And then understanding what some of the other drivers of inflammation are outside of when your estrogen drops, because estrogen helps handle inflammation, but there are other drivers of inflammation in the body. So doing a blood spot test to understand your omega-6 to 3 ratio is a really foundational test. And then understanding that we kind of have to weed our garden, we have to fertilize our garden. So these are some really important aspects that I'm bringing to the conversation because I from many years of experience, can see the benefits of doing this root cause work.
And this has really been a lot of great information here. For anyone watching, how can they find out more about this?
Well, they can follow me online, they can look at my website. There's lots of data on this, on food sensitivity testing, on omega-6 to 3 ratios, on the estrobolone, which is, the gut connection with hormones. So it's all very data driven, but there's also, I have a lot of clinical experience and observations over many, many years. And honestly, Trillian, the takeaway is there's so much hope for women. This is not a decrepit decline into, old age for women. And having had that runway, that perspective, that 25 years of watching women age gracefully, I know that what's possible.
Thank you so much for taking the time today, Jacqui. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.